In this lesson, we'll use scenes in the Sketchup environment to create views for floor plans and also sections. Alright, so I'm back here in Layout, and what I want to do is I want to go to my Sketchup file, basically this one here, and I'm going to show you how we can actually use scenes to create the views we want to work with. Now, in our other pages here, if we go back to this page here, once I jump to that page, or our previous page, what we did was we basically used, there we go. We basically brought in our images and we did it basically from within this environment. And I want to show you how we can go and do this and create views using scenes within the Sketchup environment. So I'm going to jump to my Sketchup file real quick that we renamed Floor Plans and Sections. Now that we have our floor plans open to back up, and I'm going to go ahead and space out my floor plans. So as I mentioned, we're going to use our DWG files that we kind of use to build our model with to be our floor plans. And then we'll later on use the section tool right here to either create sections to get a 3D look into how the basement looks or 3D floor plan. And then also we'll use that to create section views so we can get a gander inside of maybe 2 or 3 spots inside of our model. So we can populate our page with that. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with my floor plans. What I need to do is I need to space these out so that I can create some scenes and stuff and I don't have other elements in the way. So I'm going to highlight these guys and I'm just going to move and scoot them over. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to highlight these and we'll scoot those over as well. And we'll just kind of keep this going for the rest of these guys. So again, we'll highlight these, move, click and drag them over. And do this last one here. Alright, so now that we have that taken care of, I'm going to go ahead and set some scenes. So we'll not too worried about the foundation plan. That'll go more on our structural plans. But I am going to come here to this one. So this one looks like it is our basic, or our basement plan, excuse me. So I'm going to scroll in here and I'm going to go to top. I'm going to scroll out just a tad here, and I know that nothing's in the way. I'm in my top view. But I do want to come here to camera, and I'm going to go make sure I'm on parallel projection. So it looked like I was already on there, so let's go back and reselect that. So that's where we need to be, parallel projection. So I can scroll in now and you can see my line work. You can see all my line work. There's nothing weird coming on this side or anywhere. So now I'm going to go ahead and go to Window, Scenes, and we'll set the scene here. So go ahead and hit the plus mark. We'll add the scene, create scene. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a name to this. This is going to be floors, actually it's basement plan, excuse me. So we'll say basement plan. Here we'll say basement plan. Keep it pretty simple here. And I hit enter. See all my info goes in there nicely. And we're in business. And it shows up here. So now I'm going to use my pan tool. Kind of stay in the same view here. And I'm just going to pan across until I get to my next one. And this one here, I can select it. I can right click and I can go to Entity Info. And this is floors 1 through 5. So I'm going to make sure I label it as such. So again, we're still on top view. Everything's looking good, but I need to go ahead and set a scene. So I'm going to go to Window, Scene, plus to add a scene, create scene. We'll say floors 1 through 5. And for description, I'll say typical floor plan. Floors 1 through 5. Easy as that. I'll hit enter, information jumps up there, and we are in good shape. So again, we'll pan tool, we'll come across to this one, and I'm going to set a scene for this one. So I can select it, right click, entity info. So you can start to see why being really organized about modeling comes in handy, not only for the obvious reason, but for things like this, for illustration, we now know what we're working with. So this is floors 6 through 11. So Window, Scenes, plus create, rename it, floors 6 through 11, I believe, and if not, we can always go back and double check. And this will be typical floor plan, floors 6 through 11. Enter, information goes, and we're in business. And again, I'm going to right click and make sure I didn't forget. Here's Entity Info, 6 through 11. Okay, perfect. All right, up. Kind of scroll back in here, and I'm going to pan back around again. This should take care of the rest of the floors 12 through 15 here. So we'll create a scene for this one. So I'm going to say Windows, Scenes, plus sign, create scene, floors 12 through 15. We'll say typical floor plan, floors 12 through 15. Enter, information goes, and we are ready. So now I can go to all my scenes basically. Basement plan, floors 1 through 5, floors 6 through 11, floors 12 through 15. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save this, because remember, any changes we make here, and if you want to reference our model, we got to save it. So we'll say save. And now we could actually jump back to layout, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to right click and I'm going to actually update my model reference. This might change a little bit, and if it doesn't, we're not in troubles. But I am going to come here, close this out, come to my Sketchup model, and now for views, those scenes we set, we can actually come to this drop down, and now we have all the views that we created. So now let's get our basement plan in place. We'll say basement plan, bingo. Now I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down just a little bit, because we need to be able to get 4 different floor plans to kind of move across here. So I'm going to shrink down. And I'm going to go ahead and move this down as well, because these will actually be on the bottom. So now I can Control C, Control V. Then once I see my arrow, I'm ready to left click and grab and drag and snap into place here. So now for this one, I'm going to go to the drop down. This one's going to be floors 1 through 5. And again, I can adjust however I need to. I can come back in here and make adjustments, but I'm not too worried about it. So again, Control C, Control V. We'll then click and drag, and we'll get floors 6 through 11. Floors 6 through 11. And last but not least, we'll get our other one. We'll, again, Control C, Control V. And then floors 12 through 13 once we're ready to go ahead and click and drag this over. So I'll click, drag, and we're in business. So now what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and make some additional adjustments here. We'll take this over just a little bit. Same for this. Same for this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my styles a little bit so that I can have this in white. So I can right click. Actually, we'll scroll up so you can actually see a little bit better. After all, I want to get rid of this taupe background against this white. I want the background to be white in all of these. So I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to styles, and I'm going to go to hidden line. So if you could find hidden line, that's the one you're going to want to choose. And it should show up nicely. So if I scroll in, similar situation, very pixelated, very choppy looking work here. So again, I'm going to right click. Actually, I'm going to go to select this. And we're going to go to, instead of raster, we're going to switch to vector. I'll say OK. Now when I scroll in, the line work looks so much better and looks more like some conceptual floor plans here. Basically, we'll do the same thing for each one of these. So I'm going to select multiple. I'm going to right click. Actually, we'll have to do it one at a time for this. So we'll right click. We'll go to styles. And we're looking for hidden line. The same thing here. Right click, styles, hidden line. Right click, styles, and hidden line. Now we should be able to do multiple. Go ahead and go to switch raster to vector. We'll say OK. We'll let SketchUp do some thinking, and we'll get our floor plans in place, and we are in business. So now I can start to move these over and align these. Now I can either use the grid to get my alignment right, or I can kind of eyeball it. The more precise, the better. I recommend using a grid if you like using it, but for this, we're simply going to kind of eyeball things and make sure things look good and spacing is okay. Bring this over just a little bit, and the same thing with this one. Perfect. So now we'll go ahead and set a scale. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to scale, and now we're going to go 1 to 50. And we'll see how that fits. And we can actually resize this now. So 1 to 50 looks like it's going to work pretty good for me. Bingo. Right click, scale 1 to 50, and then again we can resize accordingly here. Easy as that. So I'll go ahead and take care of the rest of these. I'll get the scale in place, but that's how we take care of our floor plans, getting our line work to look good, bringing it into our project, and kind of reusing some of the hard work that we put into when we're working with our DWG files. So like I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and finish off the rest of these. We'll get them scaled, sized appropriately. And in the next lesson, we're going to show you how we can actually use our section tool in the Sketchup environment to create a section perspective and also a 3D floor plan. So I'll meet you in the next lesson.